Well, hello and welcome to another live webinar with Reese and Michelle. And this week we are going to be talking about hormone weight gain, what causes it and how to lose it. Okay, so I want to thank you so much for joining. And my name is Michelle Hart. Obviously, I'm not the Reese Hart one. This is Reese. And I guess a little bit about me. I am a clinical nutritionist and I've been in the trenches for 22 years, so over 2 decades. And I came into this space because I wanted to recover my own health, which you're going to learn about right now. But just so you know, I am a clinical nutritionist. I'm a chartered herbalist, personal trainer. I've studied quantum physics, and a whole host of other things because I really wanted to find the answer to how to be optimal. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start the training right now. So just so you know what you're going to learn today. So tonight it's tonight for us. We're in Playa de Carmen. It's 6 o'clock. I know in Canada it's 4 o'clock, and actually
BC.
Yeah, and actually for the ones that are on the call, there is a chat line. So if you want to in the chat line, you can please let me know who you are, where you're calling from, and I always like to know what the weather is like because I'm a weather person. Are you a weather person?
I'm a weather person sometimes, sure. I get up every day and I decide whether I'm going to do this or that.
That's funny. I love it. Okay, so yeah, your name, where you're calling from, and the weather. So in the meantime, what you're going to learn today is the following. You're going to learn which of the hormones actually cause weight gain. You're going to learn the true causes of hormonal weight gain, how to know if your weight gain is actually hormonal, and the best part yet, the solution to everything, how to lose your hormonal weight gain and keep it off for a lifetime for good.
Let's do
it. And I personally, when I do these trainings, I always like to, I'm not like to be the talking head talking all the time. I like to integrate my audience into this. So I will be, and Larry knows this, Larry's been on my webinars before. He's a veteran. And so I like to stop the training and then look to see if there's any questions. So in the meantime, when I start to speak and you have questions, you can actually ask the questions in the chat line, okay? And then I'll be stopping it and looking to see what they are, all right? Because remember, we're all in this together. Okay. So
and when you say to the end of this, there will be a gift for you tonight.
Oh, there is too. I forgot. Oh, thanks, Reese. Yeah, we're a team. Yeah, so there is gifts for those that are on the line, for the ones that stay to the end. And yes, there are gifts. So yeah, here we go. So here, next slide. So here's the thing. My personal journey. I am actually speaking to you today because I needed to recover my own health. So when I was young, I was afraid of gaining weight. And that led to a diagnosis when I was young to osteoporosis, which is an elderly diagnosis. Like you're supposed to get this when you're old. I got it when I was really young. So, and amenorrhea. So basically what this meant was I had no menstrual cycle when I was supposed to be at my prime, and my bones were as brittle as an 80-year-old grandma when I was very young. That was scary. Very scary. Can you imagine walking around this disease not knowing what to do? But the best part about all this was I did end up turning it all around, and I did it all naturally by balancing my hormones. Okay. And so that was my journey, and I figured it out. So what I want to share with you right now is this. We've got someone else hopping on the line. Most often, and I want to hear kind of your story, is when you get these diagnoses, you have this syndrome or that syndrome or this label or that, you have diabetes, you have cancer, you have osteoporosis. It's scary because you think what you're told is, okay, so we're going to manage this with medication. Okay, we're going to manage with medication. And I thought, I don't want to be medicated for something that I intuitively think that I could solve in a different way. I don't want to be on more drugs. That doesn't solve the problem. Does anybody here, has this ever happened to you where you've been diagnosed and you're freaking out and you don't really know what to do, and the only answer is medication? So I am going to stop this, and I'm going to see if anyone in the chat has had this happen to them. So the chat line is open. I'd love to hear if any of you have had these diagnoses where the answer was medication only.
And the chat's right down at the bottom in the middle there where it says chat, right beside new share.
Yeah. Larry's used it a lot. I'm sure Angela, I've got Tamara, and I've got some other Tamara on the line and some others. And make sure you hydrate while you're listening. 'Cause that's what I'm doing right now. Actually, this is vitamin. I have to share with you my vitamin W. I have a little bit of wine in the evening. Yes, it's one of those things. So I'm going to wait to see if anyone has anything on the chat. And if not, I'm going to continue on with my story. So a really good quote that was brought forth to me was, here I am diagnosed with this disease, and it was freaking out. It was scary. It's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to resort to just medication? Like, how am I going to solve this? Well, the eye can't see what the mind doesn't know. Yeah. So what that means is, if you don't really know, like, that you can fix it, then how would you know where to go? And so I was thinking, like, wait, like, can't I reverse this naturally? Isn't there someone else that can figure this out? There has to be. Intuitively in my soul, I knew that there was a better answer than medication. So I had to, once I figured that out, I wanted to see what that was. Okay. I wanted to see what that was. And so what happened was, this started the journey to my road to health. I wanted to figure out, how can I reverse this condition naturally? I don't want the medication. So I started this journey, and it was a long journey, but I did end up figuring it out. Okay, I did. And what I discovered was, it wasn't just diet. What is our best diet? No, there's more to it. Remember, you are more than just a meat suit. You are actually soul as well. You have a spirit, and the spirit is your intuition. And so we know that we are spirit. We're spirit walking around in this like meat suit. We also are a body, which is our meat suit, but we're also the mind. And so if you're going to recover something, you want to make sure all areas are covered. Okay. So this is what was helped me to recover everything.
The whole solution.
Yeah. It's a holistic solution. Yeah. So this is the backstory of everything. Remember, I figured it out. So if I were to reverse this condition that I was diagnosed with, all natural, we can reverse anything, because our body has the ability to do that, as long as you cover all your bases. And so I have Angela is popping on, and thank you, Angela. Again, I'm not a talking head. I want to hear what you say. So Angela is saying, I had a white coat syndrome in 2007 in the doctor's office. My general practitioner made me feel, guilty for being overweight. That's horrible. That's traumatic. So she took my blood pressure, and of course it was 138. So that's higher than 120, it's high. So she threatened, the doctor threatened me again by saying, well, if it goes up to 140, we're going to have to put you on medication. What? Needless to say, I haven't returned to her. Good for you. Okay. I'm glad you fired her, because that is actually medical malpractice. That's freaky. But this summer I needed a general practitioner, and she dropped me. Well, you dropped her. So anyways, she, going to her wouldn't be a solution to health. That's obvious. So I can help direct you into somebody who could help you, because actually we are from Kelowna, and we know a lot of great doctors who would be more open to complementary medicine. So
thank you. That's lovely. The only trouble is that I am living in Creston right now. What they told me to do is that I have to register through healthlinkregistry.ca, and you cannot go to specific doctor's office anymore. I'm not saying you can't go there. They just highly recommend you do this and not go to the doctor's offices anymore. We have 2 new doctors in Creston. It's very, there's a shortage of doctors everywhere. And but I can't go to that specific office. I'm supposed to go on this healthlinkregistry.ca, get myself registered in July, which I did. I've heard nothing yet. As you know, 30 to 40% of us in Canada, I think it's 30%, do not have a family doctor. And yes, when I phoned again, it was a long time since I had seen them. So they had taken me off the list, even though the rest of my family was there to that doctor. So we're short of family doctors, period. And they can actually help you navigate. I had a medical issue this summer from a wisdom tooth operation. And to see a specialist, you have to have a GP. They're the ones that can navigate you through. I don't like drugs, and I'm a natural person, alternative medicine, but there's certain things you do need a GP for sure. That's all. So I'll mute myself now.
One of the things that you could do is pop in Creston, pop into Vital Health, the local health food store there, speak to Jenna or Linda and ask them if they know of a maybe somebody that they could point you in the direction of.
Yes, I will. I go there. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then moving forward, we can, keep the conversation going, but that's a really good first start. That's really good. And I know that Larry chimed in as well. So I'm going to see what Larry's saying here. So Larry's saying, I was prescribed blood pressure medications once, took it a few days, didn't like it, so I stopped. At the time, my wife was about to have major surgery, so I was extremely stressed. Remember the stress part, please, for this conversation. And after the surgery, I was better. It was still slightly elevated, but I went to my actual doctor and it wasn't a concern for them. The doctor that prescribed it was urgent care clinic, and I had a really bad ear infection. Yeah, these are all really good stories. And so the bottom line is we have to look at really what's driving all this. Okay. And a lot of it has to do with what we're going to learn about today. Okay. So instead of spinning your wheels, trying to not get anywhere, we're actually going to look at root cause resolution instead of shiny object. Okay. So these are all really good pieces of information. So at this point, what we've talked about is, who you're learning, who you're talking to, which is myself and Reese, and also my personal story where I did naturally recover from a condition I was told I couldn't without medication, but I was able to do it. I did a holistic approach. You're going to learn about that today, but right now we're going to talk more about hormones and weight gain. Which are the hormones that are actually responsible for weight gain? Well, let's take a look. There's actually 10, there's actually 11, there's actually 12, but really we can talk about 10. So there are actually a laundry list of hormones that are responsible for weight gain. And the reason for that is because we are governed largely by our hormones. And hormones, what are they? They're chemical messengers. They actually send the signal for the glands for the release messages for the whole body to function. And they all work together. All of them work together. There's some leaders. There's some ones that follow the leaders. But really, we want to talk about the most important ones that are going to help you understand to get back into a healthy weight. Okay, there's 3 of them that I'm going to talk about today that are really, really important. Okay, the first one's cortisol. It's no surprise that this day and age we are living in a very highly stressed environment, and we are bombarded by stress in so many different areas. Food that we're eating is not healthy. It's causing stress. The lack of sleep, turn on the TV and what are they trying to do? There's fear, there's shame and everything. There's guilt, like all these things. And so people are actually literally walking around in fear, and it's fake fear. It's like right? I mean,
well, then we're bombarded by so many social media messages and marketing messages all day, and fax and telephone calls and all kinds of different things coming in. So we have more things going on in life than ever. So we're stressed, and we're managing that stress, right?
And look at social media and Instagram, and we're comparing ourselves to everybody, and we're not good enough. But everything's so fake. And how are you supposed to keep up with all that? They're better than the grass is always greener. And then all this kind of escalates. Okay, so what's happening right now is we are raising this one hormone responsible for weight gain, and that is cortisol. Cortisol is our stress hormone. Okay, and so when cortisol is raised, you are turning on the genes of disease. One of them is metabolic imbalance. Okay, so high cortisol will directly link to weight gain. How does it do that? In many ways. One of them is it dysregulates our blood sugar. We have insulin resistance. If you have insulin resistance, you're going to lead to weight gain. Okay. And this way, when you do eat your foods, and if you have a little bit more carbs than you can handle, or even the wrong kind of carbs, it goes directly to fat. And then fat releases these inflammatory markers, which then everything falls off the rails. It also leads to thyroid dysfunction. So we know thyroid is our metabolism. Infertility. We see so many infertility issues these days because of stress. Irritable bowel, anytime you are stressed, you feel it in your stomach, right? This is the butterfly syndrome. Okay, well, that's going to directly link to your digestion. So this does lead then to irritable bowel. So we're not even digesting our foods anymore. And food is supposed to be medicine. Okay, it's lowering our immune system so that we're more susceptible to conditions. And then when that happens, you're not hitting the gym. You're not getting choosing healthy foods. You're choosing quick and fast, which are typically processed foods full of chemicals and quick and easy, right, in the microwave. It also is a risk factor for osteoporosis, which is what I suffered from because of my high stress. I had high stress because I was starving myself, right? So I didn't eat, I had high stress, it led to osteoporosis, it led to hormone imbalance. But when I figured this out, everything turned around. There is a solution. But just so you know, stress is leading to weight gain, okay, cortisol. So that's the first hormone we're going to talk about. The second hormone is the following, oxytocin. Now, this isn't talked about enough. In fact, how many times have you heard oxytocin being a hormone related to weight gain or weight loss? Maybe never. What I loved about listening to a leading researcher in hormones, Dr. Anna Kabeka, she does need to be, talked about because she is now out there speaking about this one hormone that is actually the leader of all hormones that when you get right, everything can work. And so that's oxytocin. Let's talk a little bit about oxytocin. Well, oxytocin is our love hormone. And so it counterbalances cortisol. So when cortisol is up and stressed, oxytocin goes down, the love hormone. But when you start to raise oxytocin, love hormone, guess what? Cortisol goes down. And so you can, now your stress goes down and your love goes up. This is, I would say, trumps everything. Okay. So we want to find ways where we can raise the love hormone to then lower cholesterol. All right. This is what we're going to want to think about. And what happens is if we don't, this is where it leads to. Cortisol goes up, right? We have this stress, acute stress. I'm stressed, but then it goes on for so long, chronic stress. What happens? Then cortisol becomes dysregulated and it lowers, right? And then at the same time, oxytocin is down as well. So you have low cortisol, you have low oxytocin, and where this leads to disconnect. You feel disconnected to your partner, disconnected to your children, disconnected to your workspace. You are just totally disconnected because it's a hormonal response because of this overriding stress you've had for so long.
Yep. And, it's not just about loving, being in a loving relationship necessarily. It's about loving ourselves as rights, as well. So, yeah, it's cool.
And so we have this perfect storm where we have low cortisol, we're tired all the time. We have low oxytocin, we're disconnected. Now what happens is we have extreme fatigue. We have, I love my husband, but I don't know how to show him I love him. I want to be with my kids, but I don't want to play with my kids because I'm too tired. I love my work, but I don't even want to go to work. So anyways, you can see where this all goes. Okay, so that's the second hormone. And now we're going to go to the third one. And I'm going to ask you, I'm going to see if you guys maybe can figure this one out. And so we hear hot flashes, very, very common in those that are reaching menopause, or I'm not sure about andropause if they have these temperature dysregulation. Do they have temperature dysregulation?
They do, yeah,
in
absolutely.
andropause? Okay,
Yeah.
So that's got
Not
to do.
everybody. Same as not all women, but yeah, they do.
Okay, it's got to do with the hypothalamus because that's temperature regulation, which has to do with all these flashes, right? So there is a hormone that's linked to dysregulating the hypothalamus. And I want you all to kind of think about, what do you think this hormone is? It's the third hormone that's linked to weight gain. And it's got to do with flashes, temperature dysregulation. So I'm just going to see. Okay, so I've got some questions, popping in estrogen. So we're thinking, so Angela is thinking that estrogen is linked to hot flashes, or estrogen progesterone ratio, or maybe just progesterone. Tamara is thinking estrogen or progesterone. Those are Reese is thinking testosterone. Oh, testosterone. Yeah, these are all really good answers to the question, which hormone imbalance do you think is directly linked to hot flashes? Okay, so thanks for chiming in. It is actually insulin resistance, blood sugar dysregulation. So, and this is not talked enough. And so what happens is we have these blood sugar imbalances. It actually does lead to hot flashes, daytime flashes and nighttime flashes. So, and I've had clients that have had flashes every hour. They're flashing every single hour during the day, really, literally. And when I was able to balance the blood sugar, which I was able to very quickly, by the way, hot flashes go away. They start to subside They start to go, oh, I have very little hot flashes during the day. And then they actually just go away. And this could be in the matter of at the most 2 weeks. And this is all because we're balancing blood sugar. Blood sugar balance can lead to this. So also it does lead to blood sugar imbalances lead to weight gain, right? So anytime you have a fluctuation in blood sugar, you're going to have a fluctuation in your weight, which is the next slide. Thanks, Reese. What a good teammate, eh? I just raised my oxytocin, so did he. So insulin resistance is directly linked to weight gain. It's one of the hormones that we need to get balanced with glucagon. And I have a solution for you. I just want you to know, but really blood sugar balance. And on that subject, as we age, just so you know, clinically studied, our blood sugar becomes dysregulated as we age naturally, and so does our inflammatory markers. So just so you know, just because you're aging, it will happen. Okay, it's one of the things that happens when you age. So when you know these things, you can actually mitigate it. You can actually prevent this going, oh, I know as I age, my blood sugar is going to be more imbalanced. As I age, I know that I'm going to become more inflamed. Oh, well, then that means that the strategy I have needs to mitigate inflammation and balance blood sugar. And when you do, you will age gracefully. You will have a higher quality of life, and you will be among those blue zones that are found to be the healthiest on the planet, because that's what they do. And you're going to learn about how to do that today. All right. Does that sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. So I love that Larry's saying, so this explains why so many elderly people get diagnosed with diabetes and pre-diabetes. It absolutely does. Because what happens is we move less, we eat more.
And often we're doing more of the same thing that we've been doing all the way along. So the body can manage blood sugar for a certain period of time, and then after a while it says, I'm not doing so well with this, and then after a while it becomes type 2 diabetes, and then after a while it becomes type 1 diabetes, right? So if we can mitigate it or stop it before that, it's a process of time, which is aging, but also just time itself, right? So when you put yourself under the pressure of too much sugar for too long, then we're starting to take a look at blood sugar dysregulation.
I love that you said that. So this is preventative medicine, and this is where actually doing blood work really is important. So with my clients, I ask them to do a specific blood work so we can actually see their markers, and we can prevent this before it goes to the point where Angela was talking about. If it reaches 140, we're going to do this. Actually, why don't we start early, look at the markers, and then we can create a strategy where we can start to put this back into balance. Okay. And when it does, I'm just going to talk a little bit more about this blood work. When it does come to blood sugar regulation, when you get your blood work, you want to make sure you ask for hemoglobin A1c. Hemoglobin A1c. That is your last 3 months of measurement of how you're handling your blood sugar, and you want it to be around 5. Okay, if it reaches above that, go, oh, okay, cool. My blood sugar is dysregulated. I need to find ways to mitigate this so it doesn't go to diabetes 2 and then diabetes like full blown, and then diabetes 3, which is the brain. Right. So that's where Alzheimer's. Yeah. So diabetes type 3 is Alzheimer's. But it starts with diabetes type 2, which is completely reversible. In fact, you can start reversing it first day. It's so easy.
Yeah.
Diabetes 2 is like a piece of cake. Diabetes type 1 can take a little bit more time, and you can start. Yeah. You can still do a lot with that. Diabetes 3. Yeah, we can still do some things with that. But really, we don't want to wait that long. So hemoglobin A1c. We also want to look at your inflammatory markers, and that would be HSCRP, highly sensitive CRP. So we want to make sure that that is below 1, because if it's over 1, then you know that you're highly inflamed. I've seen 15. So that's when people come to me going, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do, because the medical system says all I have to do is go on these medications. But when I went on the medications, I didn't get better. I got worse. So they put me on another medication. And then I had all these side effects, and then they put me on another medication, and then I'm at my wit's end. Well, because we're not dealing with the root cause, and that is, we can fix all of this. We can. It's not even that difficult if you are with somebody who can help you. And that's actually what I do. Is exactly what I do. And I love to do it because I know how. So I know I went off the rails a little bit, but really it's important also to test and not guess. And for my clients, I test them first, and then I create a customized plan, because you're not your neighbor. Okay. I went long in the tooth, but that's okay. So we talked about a little bit about the hormones that are linked to weight gain, and the 3 most important ones, right? And also we talked about we're going to talk about now about how do you even know if your weight gain is actually hormonal. I think that's an important thing. And so let's go through these one by one. So how do you know if your weight gain is even hormonal? Well, if you have troubles losing weight, if you have a thirst that isn't satisfied despite drinking all this water, if you are frequently urinating, okay, if you have extreme fatigue, if you are sweating profusely, or you have like shakes, if you're constipated, that means less than 1 bowel movement a day. That's what constipation is. If you have irregular menstrual cycles, or let's take this another way, if you have irregular, or even like flooding. I've dealt with that a lot, flooding cycles. If you are depressed, right, and you don't really know why. If you have heartbeat, heart palpitations, if you have acne, so pimples on the skin, and it's like elderly adult acne, if you can't sleep, and if you have brain fog. These are all the symptoms of weight gain being hormonal. Mm-hmm. But again, there's a solution, and that's where I'm going to get to today. So again, if you have any questions, any comments, please share them in the chat, and we can start the conversation, because really we need to, okay? We need to put this out, and we need to share this information, and we need to find clarity so that we can get the confidence to move forward with your plan, okay? So now we're going to get to the fun part.
How to reverse it, weight gain by
the solution. Ooh. Yeah. I needed for you guys to understand that we need to look at really what's going on, okay? The root cause of this, right? And so the root cause of a lot of this, again, is the stress, which, yeah, and it's chronic, and it's not going away, right? And then it leads to the lowering of oxytocin, and then it leads to blood sugar dysregulation. So all this can be fixed with the right plan. And this is how we're going to do it. Ready? Mm-hmm. Drum roll, please. Well, I actually have a plan, and it does cover all your bases. And here's the thing about me. I don't like missing pieces. Reese knows that about me, my brain. I want everything covered, and I want it complete, and I want everybody safe. And so, again, I've been doing this 22 years. I've seen tens of thousands of people, and I've seen remarkable transitions, like transitions you would never think they would ever, they heal their bodies. And even dementia, like I've worked with that. I've worked with so many conditions, only because you're dealing with actually getting the body healthy, giving the body what it needs, okay? Because the body is a self-healing machine, right? So we work spirit-wise, we learn mind-wise, and we work body-wise, all 3. It's mind, body, spirit. And so the pillars that my plan rests on is diet. We need a nutrient-rich, okay, diet that is devoid of all these chemicals. There are chemicals in our environment that are hormone disrupting. We need a nutrient-rich diet that is devoid of these hormone disrupting chemicals, okay? We also need to clear this stuff out. It is sitting in your cells, and it's deep. It's clients that come to me are really sick. It's so deep, it's in their nucleus. It's right in the center of the cell. So if you think just diet's going to work, it's not. We need to actually clear away these endocrine disruptors, because they are sitting, they're petroleum, they're heavy metals, they're plastics. They literally, you're born toxic. And we know this through the EWG.org. 225 chemicals are found in the umbilical cord of babies that are born. So we are born toxic, and it gets worse because we store them. So this is the elephant in the room. We've got to detoxify. So if anyone isn't detoxifying, you're missing a very, very important piece. Very big. And then daily routine. The daily routine is where the spirit, the mind, everything comes. So we're going to actually create a rhythm. We are meant to live within rhythm. We're meant to get our circadian rhythm back. Why? We're meant to be coupled to our environment. We're meant to we have clocks in our body. Our liver has its own clock. Everything has its clock. And Reese is really good at this. He's a good clock.
More oxytocin.
So we're going to talk about daily routine. So when you have these 3 pillars in place and you have a strategic plan, you are guaranteed to get results. There's not even a question. Of course you are. Let's talk about diet, shall we? Yeah. Again, if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the chat below. I'm having fun. I'm having fun. I love this kind of stuff. I love more than anything to teach this stuff. Okay, this is a real truth. Let's talk about a hormone balancing diet. Number 1, and some of my clients are on the line right now, and they know, make protein a priority. Number 1, when clients come to me, they are eating way too many carbs. Remember what we talked about? As you age, our body becomes blood sugar dysregulated. We can't handle the amount of carbs we did when we were younger. In fact, we know there's studies that show when you're younger, you have way better blood sugar control than when you're older. Okay. In fact, it's pretty shocking. And I'm going to have to post those because I know what they are. I just don't want to go long in the tooth. So here's the thing. We need to balance our blood sugar, and that means protein as a priority. Okay. So we're going to think about animal protein. Animal protein. Oh my goodness. Did I say a swear word? All this plant-based stuff. What's in this plant-based stuff? Is it foods that our biology even recognizes? Soy is not recognized by your biology. It is absolutely not. It is a toxin and we need to stay away from it. Fermented soy, I'm okay with that because it breaks down all the phytic acid, enzyme inhibitors, and all the trypsin inhibitors that blocks you from being healthy. Fermented soy, sure, in small amounts. Regular soy, absolutely not. So take a look at really what you're eating. And let's get back to our natural diet, which is animal protein. We're hunters and we're gatherers. So please, let's think about what our ancestors say. Okay. So on the hierarchy of animal protein, we want to think about organ meats. Yeah. We want to also think about fish and seafood. Yeah. Because our brain, it feeds our brain, right? So that's the first step, is make protein a priority. The next step is eat low carb vegetables, high fibrous ones, the ones that are high in cruciferous vegetables. They actually detoxify chemicals out of the body. What are they? Brussels sprouts, cabbage, broccoli, kale. These are the cruciferous vegetables. And dark leafy greens. Have more of these on your template, on your plate. Okay. We want the high fiber, low starch. Have those, because here's the thing. They will help feed your gut microbiome, which helps detoxify the hormone disruptors. It will get it out of your body. So have more of that. The third thing you want to think about is fat, healthy fats, not canola oil, not vegetable oil. That must be out of the house and in the garbage. You want to think about extra virgin olive oil bought in a glass dark container. You want to think about avocados or avocado oil. You want to think about olives. Okay. A little bit less nuts and seeds because they are high in omega-6, which are a little bit inflammatory. You want to do the anti-inflammatory fats, olive oil, avocado oil. These are the kind of fats you want more of. Yeah, you can sprinkle in some nuts and seeds, no problem at all, but just don't make that your major fat source. Okay. So these are the ones. And then you want to look at the extras. What are they? Herbs and spices. Herbs and spices allow food to be your medicine. They are medicinal. Think about turmeric. It's an anti-inflammatory. Think about garlic. It's an antimicrobial. Think about ginger. It's an antimicrobial. If fighting a cold, have some ginger, right? So load your plate with herbs and spices. One of the best herbs to have is parsley. Parsley is really high. It's a diuretic. It removes the acid toxins. It's really high in minerals. If you're fatigued, you need more minerals from your food. So I know I threw a lot at you, but this is just what I do. Okay. So maybe you took notes, maybe you look at the recording, but really this is the diet template you want to think of: protein, the carbs, the fats, and then the extras. All right. Now let's go to detox. This is an absolute must for anybody who wants to be healthy in today's modern world. It's not even a question. If you're not detoxing, you are not optimizing your health. And so what you want to think about is doing a detox with intracellular. That means going in the cell and drawing the toxins out of the cell, out of the bodies. So I'm trained in biotherapeutic drainage, and what it is, what's that? Something got stuck. So these are, you can see on the screen, these are actual drops that are made. These are bottles made in one place in the world, Germany. And what they do is you take these drops, and what they do is they clear out the toxins from in the cell to get them out. These are your SWAT team. So you want to think about the organs of elimination like liver, kidney, gut. You want to clear out the toxins. I have some, yeah. So I'll be answering those in a minute. Thank you so much for chiming in with those questions. Thanks, Reese.
Yep.
So I just want to shine the light on this intracellular detox. You want to think about clearing out the toxins, because guess what? We're congested as we go on day by day if you don't clear out the toxins, because how is the food going to get in and actually give you the medicine it needs if you can't even go in the cell to do what it needs? We've got to do these detoxes. And what I've done is I do 90-day protocols that will clean, heal, and seal, get it out of your body. They're your SWAT team. They work for you. It's like hiring a VA. It's almost like outsourcing.
Just like changing the oil in your car.
It's like outsourcing. They do the work for you, okay, while you add in the nutrition. All right, so it's a very important step. And then we're going to look at daily routine. So remember we talked about oxytocin? Yeah. So one of the best way, and this was actually highlighted by Dr. Anna Cabeca. What's her? Cabeca. She's good. So what she discovered was, outside of having a healthy diet, when she started to, because she had to recover her own hormonal imbalance, her own issues, she started to journal in the morning and be outside in nature. What happened was, as she started to do that outside of her diet, her oxytocin started to go up and the cortisol started to go down. This is something that outside of diet and everything else, this is the daily routine. The daily routine was going back into nature. Nature heals. Journaling heals. Why? Because you're getting those thoughts outside on the paper. They're not stuck inside anymore. They're outside on the paper. And what you're doing is you're manifesting your dreams. You're getting rid of these emotional traumas. Emotional traumas shut you down, right? They raise cortisol and lower oxytocin. Write this stuff down. Find a solution. And guess what I do every single morning? What do I do in the mornings?
All kinds of things. One of the things is you go to the beach, but you journal every single morning.
And I do that at the beach.
Yeah.
So to me, that is, I'm telling you, that's my heaven. Yeah. And then I go to the gym. So that's what I do. And so I highly encourage you to think about journaling. I highly encourage you to think about getting into nature. I highly encourage you to get out at sunrise and sunset. Why? That will normalize your cortisol and raise your oxytocin, and it's free. So before I get into your gifts, which the ones that have stayed all the way through, and well, I mean, I've talked a lot, eh? Too much maybe? So what I'm only 45 minutes. It's pretty good. So I'm just gonna look at the questions here. So the questions are in the comments. So so Larry, yes, Larry.
Good.
So Larry's a client of mine. Larry, you're a client, and I know you're okay to say you're a client because you're always on the calls and you're just like in it to win it. Larry's saying he eats almost everything in the picture. Congratulations, way to go. That's good. Angela Preddy, is grapeseed oil okay? No. And most people think it is. So that is such a good question. So it's highly perishable. It's oxidizing. That means you're going to create free radicals and cause inflammation. So I would get that off your template, your eating template. And what I would do is replace it with extra virgin olive oil. But I would make sure that the extra virgin olive oil that you buy is in a dark glass container. No plastic. Don't buy never buy fat in even peanut butter in plastic. That is going to be throwing these hormone disrupting chemicals, seriously estrogenic, into your food, and the fat absorbs it and you eat it and you disrupt your hormones. So let's go with glass. Let's go with dark. Let's go with extra virgin olive oil. Let's go.
Okay, can I ask a quick question about extra virgin with cooking, high temperatures?
Yes,
that's sort of why I got the grapeseed. I wasn't sure. Because I think extra virgin olive oil doesn't like to be at high temperatures. Is that correct?
that is correct. It's okay. So medium to low. Yeah. And then higher temperatures need coconut oil.
Okay.
Only have coconut oil, extra virgin olive oil, olives in their full form because they're creamy and they add really delicious things. And did I say olives?
Yep.
Yeah.
Avocado in its full form, and
Okay.
olives. Just keep it simple. And
Okay.
butter.
Or ghee.
And the other stuff, anytime you put something that is going to a vegetable oil or hydrogenated oil, anything that is oxidizing, it lodges into your cell membrane because it's and it will stay there for 2 years. 2 years, 24. Yeah. So what happens is the first day that you go, I'm not going to consume these hydrogenated fats. I'm not going to consume these perishable oils that is disrupting my cell membrane. And I'm going to start to have the healthy oils. In 2 years, you will have healthy membranes. But if you don't start, you'll never have that. 2 years. So start now. Yeah, no. No, I know it sounds okay. Good to know about nut butters in glass. I know I cringe when I see these plastic containers with peanut butter or almond butter. It just, yeah, not good. Okay, so hopefully, have you learned anything today so far? Are you learning anything? Am I getting through? Have you got some clinical pearls, like my mentors would always say? Is there something that you can take away from this that would actually make a difference? I'd like to hear from you. Anyways, those that are on the call here. So I'm going to offer the ones here that are on the call 2 free coaching sessions. That means 2 free appointments with me. And my calendar is very busy. So I would actually urge you to, if you want this, in the chat, put ready. And then I will make sure I reach out to you and we can get these in. But you can see my calendar is extremely full, but because you took the time today, and I want to work with people that actually are ready to get their health back, because I'm very careful with who I work with. And I want to work with go-getters going, you know what? I've tried everything and nothing's working. Oh, perfect. If you're hungry for it, we can talk. And someone who's coachable and, you know, no excuses and just ready to just, yeah, I want the answers. Perfect.
And I've got an idea just popped in my head. If you, maybe this isn't okay, you tell me. But
Okay.
if you don't want the bonus sessions, but you want to share it with a friend, you could give it to a friend and they could use those coaching sessions.
I'm okay with that.
Cool.
So yeah, that's smart. So if you have a friend and who needs this, like you hear them suffering and they're just not getting anywhere, but they want to, please
You give them a step up.
Yeah, and you would actually probably save their life.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just need to ask a quick question. The 2 coaching sessions are if you buy the conferences ticket?
No.
No. Oh, I know that's no. Don't look at that.
Okay.
No conference ticket. No buying anything.
I
No,
said, you got to change that.
I'm like, they're not going to read
That
that.
looks confusing.
It's just like
My-
I'm sorry. These are completely free and a gift from me. Because here's the thing. I am here for a reason. My purpose is to help you actually recover your health like I did. And I do this out of divine. I'm guided. I am. And Reese knows this. I am here to help you really recover your health.
Yep.
I've done mine. I've helped lots of others, and it gives me so much joy to see those that are ready to recover their health, get their health back. So if you are interested, just in the chat, say ready, and I'll reach out to you. And again, if you want to offer this to your friends or your family that you know, oh my gosh, like you could really help them, then please reach out to me. I'm fine to have these coaching calls for them and get them in the right direction and not the wrong.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun.
All right. So, you know, it was a really good time, and thank you so much for joining, and it'll all be recorded. It'll be posted. Again, thank you so much for all your information, and I want you to have a really good night, and hug your loved ones and raise that oxytocin. Think about getting this journaling in the morning, especially. Start to realize your dream. Like, really, you can be whoever you want. And if you're told you can't, no, you can be whoever you want. You can reinvent yourself like I did. I reinvented myself. So did you.
Go hug your cat or dog. It's all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Thanks so much, everybody.
okay.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
I've seen some,
too.
yeah, I will be reaching out the ones that
Hope
are
to see you
ready
again.
and I will be, we'll be in touch, okay?
Take care.
Bye.